Good evening and welcome to the workshop. My name is Seth and this is Sweet Chariot, where I make U-bows and Hazel arrows. It turns out, that light out of my pocket. Yeah, hello and welcome to everyone who's subscribed. Thank you. It's almost 500 people now, 488 I think at last count. So if you're new, dropping in, don't even hesitate. Just go ahead and do it. This is what we're doing here. We're making cool wooden weaponry in England from the things that we have in England. I've got some yew up there, some bits of maple I can see, some red oak, and this is hazel. I've already done a video on, I was making this hazel arrow. It was just going over the basics of what a hazel shoot looks like, and then how you process it down to something resembling an arrow. What did I do though? I did it wrong. I jumped the gun. I went too early. And you can see here the knocks, sort of a bit more representative of where I started. So I made the shaft too thick. I think it ended up about 800 grains, something like that. So so I went ahead and put the fletchings on and the tip on before I'd really sized the arrow shaft down to a weight that was going to be workable, going to actually fly well off the bow that I was making, which is another tricky thing because I hadn't actually finished the bow. I was in the process of making the bow. This one. The reason I'm making a long hazel arrow is to fire from this bow. It's a Japanese longbow. In the Kudo style we had in mind, you draw it long. This is designed to go 34 inches. So a 35-inch arrow was required to fire it all the way. That being said, these 31.25-inch aluminium arrows, the whole process, are fired really well out of it. And it turns out, I figured there'd be bamboo arrows they used in Kudo, the martial art form of archery in Japan. But what they use is aluminium. Not something we could, they had at Wales Archery Specialist. It was the only archery shop I've been to and dealt with. They're great, they're good guys. But they don't have long Kudo arrows for sale. So the fella there suggested that we go ahead and do this. So this is why we're here. And it felt like good content, you know what I mean? Go cut some hazel. I'm in an area where we got, as well as yew, ash, maple, lots of hazel. And I don't know if you've ever seen a hazel shrub, you probably have. They literally just grow in shoots like this, bundles of shoots like this. And furthermore, the hazel plant loves to be coppiced. It's just one of these plants that enjoys having bits cut off of it. So, match my English Japanese longbow with a hazel arrow seemed appropriate. And here we are. Now, weights. Weights are important here. I think why these arrows have flown so well. They're just really good arrows. I recommend aluminium. I know it doesn't really go with the ethos of traditional archery, but yeah, I mean, the bow still works fine. The challenge with arrows, as we're going to try and remedy here, has always been to make them stiffer and lighter. It's a very, engineering problems often come with trade-offs. If you're going to make something lighter, it tends to make it weaker. So when we discover materials that can do it, typically it is stronger and lighter, or as strong but lighter, is the defining sort of positive characteristics for new materials, and aluminium is definitely one of those, along with carbon fiber as well. And they make really good arrows, as we know. Yeah. But I haven't got aluminium tubing. I'm not tooled up to make aluminium arrows. I should be making bows, if we're honest. But like I just mentioned, to get that bow working, this time we need to make an arrow. So now this arrow, this is sort of my target weight, which is pretty unreasonable because this is an aluminium arrow and quite light. 27 grams. So around 417 grains. I haven't got a grain calculator, just a trusty old herb calculator scale. So I've already done the adding up, the calculation. Sorry. So I'm just getting distracted by the door there. Joe coming in. So yes, this one comes in at about 417 grains. I didn't before I start recording on my phone where my calculator is. I didn't do the calculation for this one. This one comes in at 33 grams. That one's 27 grams. So a wee bit higher, heavier than that. I think this shaft, it was 37, or did it go down to 36 grams? Resting on the stick there. Just under 37 grams, these ones, and they haven't got the fletchings on yet. So still very heavy in the, was it 580 grains sort of area, this one. So it's going to be slow off of the Kudo bow, because it's not that powerful. It's about 30 pounds. 10 grains of arrow to every pound of bow. So really, that, you know, that's the weight, sort of weight. And the, yeah, 33 grain arrow. It's like a 60 pound bow, I think this is designed for. 60 to 65. Arrows are confusing. However, right. So all this aside, we've taken our Hazel shoot and we've scraped it down, and we've tried to nerd out on weights and how much it bends and how long it needs to be and how heavy the tip needs to be. This was something else I had to consider, and I have actually picked up more tips. I'm trying to bring down the overall weight of this arrow to make it fly better. There's only so much material you can take away from the shafts. Tips. Tips is another way you can dial it. These tips are the same diameter, but slightly lighter than the ones I've got on here. So I'm not going to switch these off. I'm going to leave it as it is, because we're actually, you know, not too far behind where we need to be. At 37 grams. Because what we're going to try is what destroyed this arrow. A bit of fire hardening. Just a little bit. The arrow needs to be, come here, arrow needs to be both stiffer and lighter. So here's what I'm thinking. The fire hardening likes to drive moisture out and harden the wood, which is exactly what happened here. So I picked it up. This is the thing I filmed, but my memory ran out on my phone. Sacrificed an arrow and lost the footage. Yeah, very brittle. The stiffness is what we were after. These are slightly too bendy. Then again, putting them next to the aluminium here, it's not a crazy amount off. Obviously stiffer. But in terms of working with the bow, it's hard to tell. Unless you slow the footage down, because these could bend a significant amount. In fact, I remember watching back on a short I did firing these for the first time, and it had a remarkable amount of bend. Not to say that they won't work, but we could make them stiffer. We could try and make them behave a little bit more like this, if we get the fire hardening right. And I think this was just a wee bit too much, or I could be wrong. Any amount of heat maybe might be enough to spoil the shaft. There's only one way to find out. This is what I'm going on. Charring the thing was clearly too much. But there's another characteristic of these arrows I've got to be a bit concerned of while doing this. Obviously when you heat the arrow, it's going to want to warp. This is why I've pinned this one down. Do my best to keep it in shape. But I wager, unless you get your torch perfectly even, which just won't happen, I don't think that's possible. Maybe slow cooking them kebab style in an oven might be a better way to do it. But that's not what we're going to do. We're going to do it a bit more basic. And if it shows promise, maybe we'll do it a different way. But yeah, obviously the black charred is too much. So I really don't think it needs to be much. We're talking about a very small amount of material here. So do I try it again? Oh, don't tell me. Let me find my lighter a moment. There we go. Sorry, dead areas are crying. Flammable things out of the way. Yeah, so we're going to do. We're going to try to be mindful of keeping it straight, not too hot. I don't think I even want it light brown. Definitely not charred. We're going to go for light brown. As gentle heat as possible, and really not much. How low can I go without it setting off? Right, that's probably it. So what we're going to do, gentle cook, and then compare the stiffness of it from this one to this one. Obviously, not going to cook this one. If it just destroys the arrow again, I don't think I will. I'll dress it up with his fletchings and I will test it. Because this is the lightest I've made them, 37 grams. So I'll be interested to see how they perform anyway. If the fire hardening works, we'll do the other one. We'll see how we do. Yeah, I'm going to stick this side and this side. I'm not going to bother with turning them over. Hopefully we get a nice even cook either side, regardless. I'll do some talking while I do this. I really want to concentrate because, where'd he go? Destroyed it last time. Maybe that's because I was talking to camera rather than concentrating. And there's the smell coming off of it. It's not really a pleasant smell. Hazel, green hazel, when it's being heated. Still no blackening coming up. Doesn't seem to be trying to warp. Well, might be trying to warp. That device is holding it in place. Try and get under there a little bit. Yeah, it's hard to know exactly what I'm aiming for when it comes to black in there. When it comes to making this equipment, I have not been around Kudo equipment at all. So I know the concept of it, long drawing. It's a very artistic form of archery, as in, you know, form of shooting the bow, the way that you shoot the bow. So the display of the thing is far more important than the actual accuracy, the actual performance of the equipment. And people would probably favour a lower poundage bow because you have to hold the thing so far back and for quite a long time as well. That's not something you do with a heavy poundage bow. A couple of little burn spots, but hopefully nothing too bad. I'm tempted to say I should test it now, just see how it compares to the other one after this much. One more this side. Excuse me. Right. Who knows, we could have overdone it still. That's what I meant to mention. Obviously, when it's too brittle like this, it's lost the characteristic that Hazel arrows have and I like, which is the ability to straighten them. Obviously they will bend out, then again you've got the option just to bend them back in again. So doing this obviously removes its ability at some point to do that. So do we still have the ability to mould it, or do we not need it anymore because we've cooked that straightness into it? We're still pretty straight. Well, let's test the theory on this little kink here. Oh, if it, yeah, that feels stiffer to me. Maybe not across the whole thing, but definitely that one little area when it comes to trying to straighten out the kinks that you get in the Hazel arrows. So we can look down there. It wasn't perfect. So maybe I do need to shift it around to its other side. Alright, let's cook this top surface quick. We won't use the leather. Yeah, not clamping it down hard. Come here. Quick grips. An essential tool for bow making. And turns out it's handy in arrow making as well. Why am I making arrows? I should be making bows. Yeah, like I said before, you're not going to understand bows until you understand arrows. Or maybe it's that you get to a point, sorry, with bows where you realise that to really maximise your performance, you have to understand your arrows. Let's go again. Nice and gentle. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Once I've done this, we're going to chuck it back on the scale and see if we've driven any moisture out. Come down from, what was it, 37? It's a nick under 37 when we started. Say it again, aluminium is sort of what drew me to, tied in with how I got started with making bows. Because my mum used to do archery and her equipment has been about for quite a while. I said the bow was at their place, but her original arrows somehow ended up with me. I think the bow was with me as well, but the arrows were, the fletchings were coming off and they were bent and whatnot. So they didn't go with the bow back to my parents' place. But anyway, having those aluminium arrows around just made me wonder. So, right, well, how do I make a traditional bow for an aluminium arrow? Why wouldn't you? And that sort of, well, that sparked my sort of design ideas when it came to you, and that's naturally sort of nudged on to, you know, the actual designs that work, and understanding the technology. Because, well, if you're here, you probably realise there is a silly amount to understand when it comes to archery, much more than you think. You hit a lot of physics, all the physics, maybe not all the physics. There's a lot of physics involved between the arrow, the string, the bow, you. Yeah, and that's before you talk about just the positive aspects that it can have on a human being's life. Being involved with nature in this way. I mean, this is maybe even deeper. I mean, just going and buying a bow and getting started with a basic kit or whatever at an archery range. That you could take it to the next level and go make all your kit. They had the same sort of inclination with bikes. Obviously try and fix the things up. I think a lot of dedicated bikers, they would go, well, I'd like to custom make my own frame. Tired of buying equipment that's almost right. Why not learn how to make your own and make it exactly how you want? You've learned the activity, you've learned the equipment to a point where you can dial it that finely. I said, the similarity between archery and bikes. Very small adjustments make all the difference. A quarter inch of string, a fraction of a millimetre of material on the shoulder of where the string goes on the bow. Fraction of a millimetre again on thickness of sapwood. That much stands between you and total failure of your bow. Got some heat in there. Concentrate, Seth, you don't want to ruin this again. I need to try and make it even, don't I? If it's not cooked evenly, it's going to want to try and bend out of shape. But it did feel like it, definitely felt like it was stiffer. Let's see if we can encourage that across the whole thing. Ooh. Without burning it. Burning it, definite no-no. Slow and steady wins the race. Low and slow. You could get really nerdy with this, couldn't you? Arrow oven. Digital arrow oven. 52 degrees for 43 minutes on a 7mm Hazel shaft. These are the sorts of digits we're trying to achieve. Because then you know. Yeah, I've spoken about this briefly before, but if there's a, well, sort of the ethos, part of the ethos of the channel is trying to keep these sorts of things alive, just the knowledge of your environment, you say the resources, our natural role in that environment. This is almost like the hazel shrub, the hazel tree is waiting for us. Knows we want arrows. Well, it knew we wanted arrows at one point. So it just evolved that way to give them to us. I think you can feel that way a lot with nature, can't it? What a gift. I'm gonna pick an apple in autumn time, or a plum, just a beautiful, sugary, juicy, succulent piece of fruit. Too much of a coincidence. Right, that is a decent amount again. Let's just check my camera is still running. I'm not wasting time here. We're still going. Good. Got filled up my memory again. Get that out of the way. Release this. Ooh, a bit more warp on it maybe. And like I say, if we can stiffen it but still retain that property of being able to straighten it out and it hold its form. Cool, yeah, that's bent a lot. I'm going to cook that area there. I can see that's an area I haven't hit. Let's remember what side it is. It's that side there. Let's test the formability of it, hopefully without breaking it. I want to say it's feeling stiffer though. What keeps beeping? Sounds like my phone's taking a time lapse or something. It's creeping me out. Still bent up pretty good. Is it forming though? I'm a little bit hesitant. I think it is. It can take a while to straighten hazel shoots out. Take one kink out and create another one. Sure, there's a good technique for it. We're which we will try and discover. Or maybe it's just not holding its bend. Or maybe I just need to cook that other side that I didn't cook. It's definitely changing shape. Maybe it's me just being clumsy with how I do it. I think it's a bit stiffer. What was that uncooked side? That one right there. We're going to do that one real quick. Then I'm going to take the weight. It's the white side. So it's just a very gentle toasting we want to do on our Hazel shoots. I should have got my vernier calipers out, shouldn't I? Yeah, I've done very much just put them side by side and by feel, comparing it to the old ones as well. But I do need to get out the calipers and take an exact reading of what this is. Yeah, that's our data point. We'll know how thin we can go with a Hazel shoot and what weight that makes. So the way we're at now, you know, we're 3 inches longer than these guys. Yeah, these are stiff. These are made for a heavy bow. Actually, that one's heavier than that one, I think. These will be Douglas fir, I imagine. One more toasting, and we'll take the weight and see where we land. Should probably weigh the fletchings as well, huh? Yeah, as I was saying with Kudo, yeah, aluminium, the reason I was going on about it is because it helps maximize arrow speed. In Mediterranean archery, accuracy is everything. Arrow speed helps accuracy. It's a flatter trajectory. You haven't got to try and put that little arc in there. Accurate. Whereas Kudo, they don't really care about that. As long as you hit the target in Kudo, you get your points. Doesn't matter where on the target you hit. You could hit it on the edge, you could hit it dead center. Doesn't matter. You hit the target, you get your points. So making an arrow that is as fast as it can be, I think in Kudo terms it would help because you can use it with a lower poundage bow. Fast moving arrow on a bow that you can draw and hold for a decent amount of time. But essential for the activity? I don't think so. I think it's more important that the arrow looks good, which is something else to comment on here. These are concentrate. These are about the small for Kudo arrows. They work well. I also picked up some uncut fletchings because I think they're normally, you know, a third or twice as long as these ones here. This is something else to mention. You don't have to use this equipment Kudo style to do Kudo. That is the martial art. To properly do Kudo, you got to have a full outfit on, and you got to be in a Kudojo. And the target is, I forget that it's a set amount of inches across, like 16 inches or something. And the Kudojo, how long is it? I want to say 39 meters, or 29 meters maybe. So it's very specific things. But you don't have to. You can use asymmetrical bows elsewhere. Doesn't have to draw the 30. Well, this one does, but the next one I'm going to do actually, I've been concentrates F. I just burnt it. Let's hope it doesn't break. Yeah, the next one I'm going to do is going to be a shorter version of the Iumi there. I can't remember if I got it down and showed you actually. Might have been on another take. It's nicely set now. Yeah, shorter version, still asymmetrical, that fires. When did that turn up? That fires a shorter arrow. So less dialed towards Kudo, more dialed towards just shooting horsebow style. Because I missed my horsebow. That one broke on me. I was playing around with making it more front set, and the piece of wood did not like it. Speaking of, I really hope I didn't just ruin it there with that one burn. I think it is literally that sensitive. Concentrate. Right. Fingers crossed. If it breaks there, we know why. Because I wasn't paying attention. I was chatting at my fan base. Hello, fan base. Warped again, hasn't it? Once again, we want to see if it's retained its memory, or its ability to change its memory, I should say. Its malleability, or whatever it is. I think it has. Are we stiffer overall? I think it is. I say bendy arrows we can work with. The stiffer we can make them, the better, in my opinion. Well, because we're dealing with but center cut bows, and also well, the Kudo bow, the Yumi, is the string set over to the right hand side. So effectively, center cut. There's no bow for the arrow to have to spine around. I have heard this as a video topic before. From I forget his second name. God damn it! There's a channel run by a fellow called Armin. Armin. I really should have. He's followed. Hello, friend. I really should have got my facts straight before talking about you. Why did I bring him up? Yes, I think that's why. I think it was one of Armin's videos. He was talking about the way that you shoot a horsebow. Does it undo the concern for spining arrows, choosing the correct spine of arrows? I can't remember the verdict. I think it's surely got to come down to the different style of handle in the horsebow and lengths of arrow as well. I mean, there's something there, right? If the bow is not in the way of the arrow, it definitely has an effect on the whole thing. That's better. I don't know if you're enjoying me gently straighten out this Hazel shoe, but it seems as though it's holding its memory. We're able to form it into place, and I'd say in these little areas it definitely feels stiffer. Can't really tell what it's done to the spine without a proper spine tester, right? So it'd be two little blocks or something like that. You'd be able to hang a weight on the middle of it here and see how far the weight drags the middle of the arrow down. That will tell you exactly what spine it is. That's probably a tool. This is why I didn't want to make arrows, because I quickly realised it's an entire other workshop. Very slightly different tools to bow making. But all very necessary to make arrows properly. Right. See, that's not too bad. You're really going to struggle, Hazel, getting it perfect. There's something we know with arrows, they don't actually have to be perfect. Your fletchings can sort out a lot of things. and your technique as well, your intuition. Wow, we can actually test it next to this one. First, let's take a weight. Somewhere safe. Untreated one. Yeah, we're both just under 37. Just a smidge under 37. And that is now 35.83. Yeah, so you lost almost a gram from doing that, which is good. That's good. Awesome. Now, right, stiffness test. And so they're obviously not identical, but they are similar in dimension. They're actually relatively similar, you know. That's got to be stiffer though, right? There would be only one way to know. But to lose a gram in moisture, I assume, that's good. That is more or less what I was hoping for. It'd be nice if it was stiffer. Not going to know until we try and make it perform. But also, compared to this one was firing okay. I could shoot this one, but it was definitely doing some bucking. And I think it was likely because of all the weight left on the end here. I don't know if you can see, because I haven't had fletchings on these ones, I've, you know, carried on with the slimming down. It would have carried the whole way down the shaft, so it's ended up quite a lot lighter on the back end, which is important for arrows. There's a few things at play here. Back end, I'll do proper fletchings as well. I've got my oh, where'd it go? Here it is. I've got my shiny new fletching jig to test out. I won't do it this video because I think we're about half an hour in now. I imagine no one's watching anymore, so we'll do another video for this. But now I've got two 35-inch arrow shafts, one heat treated and one not. One slightly lighter, still not quite straight. We'll fletch up this one first, is what we'll do, and see how it performs. I think that's the way to do it. Because who knows, it could have made it less stiff. I doubt it. Let's say you can feel that much weight. Maybe. So yeah, let's not forget, there is still the fletchings to go on. But in sort of terms, you know, comparing it to these arrows, that's not really important. I was never going to make an arrow that light. Those are optimum arrow materials there. These are primitive arrows we're making. We can still lose weight on the tips. I do not know what weight tip works with these shafts. I mean, now we've got two variables. We've got an untreated one and a heat treated one, both the same length, but they're obviously going to behave differently now, clearly, because this one is a gram lighter than this one. Only one thing to do next. Let's get some feathers on it and shoot it. But we'll do that in the next one. Thanks again, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, like and subscribe, comments, ideas, thoughts, criticisms, all good. Yeah, speaking of criticisms, I had someone comment on one of my older videos called my bows a bunch of backset nonsense or something along those lines. And it stung a little bit. I sort of gave him a comment back or whatever, but I can't deny there is definitely some truth to it. The first bow I made looked like a boomerang. And I think the skill of the bow maker is the more you can get the limbs to be in front of the handle, front set like that, the higher the skill required, basically, more or less. So I'm up to this level of skill now. that level of skill is on the horizon. Let's try and achieve that. Yeah, new self bows, they are tricksy, they are difficult. But I tell you what, if you can crack it, they are beautiful and unique as well. Yes, yeah, it's sort of well, Kudo isn't the only discipline that you know beauty sort of thrives in. So yeah, it's been a joy to be able to make traditional, but frankly gorgeous. Are they not? So I'm not blowing my own trumpet here. You is just starting off making walking sticks with it and makes such a lovely handle. You know, you find a knot. So you're not going to see any knots here because that's why we've chosen this piece of wood. Yeah, you get yourself it'll be on the top of the branch where it joins another branch. Yeah, make a handle out of that, and it was beautiful. So I was like, well, I hear you makes bows. It not only makes bows, it makes beautiful bows. Yeah, it's been an absolute joy. It's been as joyful as it has been frustrating. Yeah, snap some good bows, me. But that is the only way that we learn. But yes, now going back into it. Thank you again, everybody. I will see you in the next one. Either to fletch these arrows or shoot some fletched arrows. Hopefully working a dream. Wouldn't that be cool? Make some fire hardened Kudo arrows that work really well. Oh yeah, both these bows here, both of them, on sale on eBay. Come find me. Sweet Chariot England is my shop. I'll see you later. Thanks again, everybody.